What if the reason you crave solitude isn't shyness? What if it's a sign of something profound happening within you? And in the next few minutes, you'll discover exactly why spiritually awakened people can't stand crowds anymore. Plus, I'll reveal the ancient secret behind this shift and how you can harness it. You've probably felt it, that overwhelming feeling when you're in a packed mall or a loud concert. It's not just being introverted. There's a deeper reason. Most people have no idea what's really going on. They think it's just a preference. But it's so much more. It's a fundamental change in how you perceive the world and how the world perceives you. This changes everything you thought you knew about social energy. Let's start with what most people understand. Crowds are fun. They're exciting. They're where life happens, right? That's the surface. But for those on the spiritual path, something shifts. The energy of a crowd starts to feel heavy, draining, even toxic. You might find yourself physically recoiling or feeling a deep sense of unease. You're not crazy for thinking this. Your body already knows this. It's trying to tell you something vital. Picture this. You're at a busy festival. The music is loud. People are everywhere. You feel a wave of buzzing energy. But instead of feeling energized, you feel a sharp headache starting behind your eyes. The air feels thick, like you can't quite catch your breath. You notice the sheer volume of unspoken thoughts and emotions swirling around. It's like a chaotic soup, and you're suddenly hyper-aware of every single drop. This is the first sign. The veil is lifting. Ancient civilizations knew this. They understood the energetic imprint of large groups. They saw crowds not just as people, but as a massive collective consciousness, a swirling vortex of shared emotions and intentions. Some good, some not so good. They understood that these energies could be overwhelming, especially to those with heightened sensitivity. They developed practices to shield themselves, to maintain their inner peace amidst the chaos. This information was almost lost. Think about the early hermits, or mystics who retreated to mountains. They weren't just avoiding people. They were preserving their energetic integrity. They understood that prolonged exposure to dense, unmanaged collective energy would dim their inner light. It would cloud their intuition. It would make deep spiritual work impossible. They knew that solitude was a sacred space, a place for their soul to breathe and grow. Stop. Think about this. Have you ever walked into a room and immediately felt a shift, a change in the atmosphere? That's not just your imagination. You're picking up on the residual energetic vibrations, the emotions and intentions that have been left behind. Crowds are just amplified versions of this, a constant bombardment of psychic noise. This is where the first story comes in. Let's call her Clara. Clara lived in Boulder, Colorado. Back in 2018, she started noticing something strange. After attending large public events, like concerts or even busy farmers markets, she'd feel utterly depleted. Not just tired, but energetically hollowed out. She'd get migraines and feel a crushing anxiety that lasted for days. She initially thought she was becoming socially anxious, but it felt different. It felt like an external force was draining her. One evening, after a particularly overwhelming experience at a music festival, she felt a desperate need to escape. She drove to a remote spot in the Rockies. She sat by a stream under the stars. As she focused on the quiet, the rushing water, and the vastness of the night sky, she felt her energy slowly returning. It was like a sponge being rehydrated. She realized the crowd wasn't just loud, it was energetically suffocating her. She started actively seeking solitude, and her life began to transform. But that's not even the strangest part. This isn't just about feeling drained. It's about a fundamental shift in your perception. You start to see the underlying currents, the unspoken dynamics, the hidden agendas. It's like going from black and white to full color. but the colors are sometimes unsettling. Now, let's dive deeper. What if this shift in your energy is linked to something science is only beginning to understand? Quantum physics talks about entanglement, how everything is connected. On a subtle energetic level, when you're spiritually awakened, you become more attuned to these connections. You start to feel the collective consciousness more acutely. Remember this detail, it'll be important later. Your own energy field. It's like an antenna. As it expands and becomes more sensitive, it picks up more signals, including the chaotic signals from large groups of people. They don't want you to know this, because a truly aware population is harder to control. Think about it. If everyone is plugged into a higher frequency, they can't be easily swayed by mass media or manipulation. This changes everything you thought you knew about social interaction. It's not about liking or disliking people. It's about energetic compatibility. And large, dense crowds often operate on a lower frequency. A frequency of fear, anxiety, and ego-driven desires. Your awakened self simply can't harmonize with that anymore. It's like trying to play a crystal-clear flute in a room full of static. Let's look at some documented cases. In the 1970s, a research project, codenamed Stargate, explored psychic abilities. While many aspects were classified, some declassified documents hint at the effects of collective consciousness on sensitive individuals. Researchers noted that individuals with heightened psychic awareness often reported feeling overwhelmed in populated areas. They described a, quote, psychic static that interfered with their abilities. Some were even unable to perform telepathy or remote viewing when in dense urban environments. This hints at an underlying principle, that concentrated human activity creates a type of energetic interference. Imagine a powerful radio signal being drowned out by thousands of weaker, discordant signals. Your expanded awareness is that powerful signal. Crowds are the static. This was understood by ancient shamans. They knew how to navigate these energetic currents. Consider the story of Anya. She lived near Boston, Massachusetts. Around 2015, Anya, who was deeply into meditation and energy work, started experiencing extreme fatigue after visiting the city center. She worked remotely, so her daily life was quiet. But when she had to go into Boston for appointments, she'd feel like she'd been hit by a truck. Her head would pound. She'd feel nauseous, and she'd have vivid, disturbing images flash through her mind. One day, she went to a large public memorial event in Boston Common. The sheer density of grief, anxiety, and a strange undercurrent of anger was palpable. She felt herself physically shrinking, trying to become invisible. She had to leave early. She later described it as feeling like she was drowning in a sea of chaotic emotions. She realized her sensitivity had become a liability in such environments. She began to limit her exposure drastically. She found that even short visits left her needing days to recover. This is the hidden pattern. Your energy field is becoming more refined. It's like upgrading from an old radio to a high-definition receiver. You're picking up nuances others can't. And the noise of the crowd becomes unbearable. It's not that you're weak, it's that you're becoming stronger, more sensitive, more aware. Wait, let that sink in. Your aversion to crowds isn't a flaw, it's a feature of your spiritual growth. It's your higher self protecting your energy and guiding you towards environments that support your evolution. They don't want you to know this because it empowers you. It tells you that you have control over your own energetic experience. This brings us to the evidence. Have you ever noticed how after a really fulfilling spiritual experience, maybe a deep meditation or a quiet walk in nature, you feel incredibly sensitive? Even a loud conversation can feel jarring. That's because your energetic field is expanded and vibrating at a higher frequency. When you then encounter a crowd, which is often vibrating at a much lower, more chaotic frequency, the dissonance is immense. Scientists accidentally discovered something similar with biofeedback. They found that trained individuals could consciously influence their own energy fields, and also sense the energy fields of others. While mainstream science rarely touches on this, fringe research and ancient texts are full of it. They describe aura, or prana, the life force energy that surrounds all living things. Imagine you're at a busy airport. You see hundreds of people rushing around. Each person carries their own energetic signature, their fears, their hopes, their stresses. Now, picture all those signatures overlapping, clashing, and creating a dense, almost tangible energetic fog. For someone with heightened sensitivity, this fog is suffocating. It's like trying to breathe underwater. I remember talking to a man named David. He lived in Austin, Texas. Around 2019, David, who was a musician, found himself increasingly unable to perform in crowded venues. He'd start on stage, feeling okay. But as more people entered the room and the energy built, he'd begin to feel nauseous, his hands would shake, he couldn't focus on his music. He tried everything, grounding techniques, meditation before shows. Nothing worked. He finally confided in a mentor who suggested it wasn't stage fright, but an energetic overload. His mentor explained that the collective energy of a large audience, especially one focused on entertainment, could be incredibly volatile. It's a mix of excitement, expectation, and sometimes a desperate desire for escape. For someone like David, whose own creative energy was sensitive, this became overwhelming. He had to shift to smaller, more intimate performances, or even stop performing altogether for a while. He described it as feeling like his soul was being scraped raw by the sheer intensity of the crowd's energy. This is the essence of it. Your spiritual awakening is refining your energetic perception. You're no longer content to passively absorb the collective noise. You're actively seeking harmony, and crowds by their very nature are often disharmonious. They're a cacophony of unmanaged emotions and desires. This is the truth they don't want you to know. That your sensitivity is a gift, not a burden. If you're still watching, you're probably sensing something deeper. You're nodding along because this resonates with your own experiences. You've felt this disconnect, this longing for quiet, this need to retreat. It's a sign of your own evolution. You're tuning into a different frequency, a frequency of peace, clarity, and connection to the divine. So what's the big revelation? The reason spiritually awakened people can't stand crowds anymore is because their energetic systems have become too refined. They are more sensitive to the energetic pollution of dense, chaotic human gatherings. This isn't a weakness. It's a sign of heightened awareness and energetic integrity. It's your soul's way of guiding you towards environments that nurture your growth, not deplete it. Here's the practical application. 3 steps you can take. First, honor your need for solitude. Don't fight it. See it as a sacred necessity for your spiritual well-being. Schedule regular time alone. Make it non-negotiable. This is where you recharge, where you connect with your higher self, where you process the energies you encounter. Second, learn energetic shielding techniques. Think of it like putting on an invisible cloak of light. Visualize a protective bubble of white or golden light around you before entering a crowded space. There are also specific meditations and affirmations you can use. Ancient texts describe these methods. They were used by mystics for centuries. Your body already knows this. Third, seek out conscious communities. Not all crowds are created equal. Look for gatherings where people are consciously cultivating positive energy. Think yoga retreats, meditation circles, or spiritual workshops. These spaces, even if they have many people, tend to have a more harmonious, energetic vibration. You'll feel uplifted, not drained. This changes everything. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. Your aversion to crowds isn't about being antisocial. It's about being energetically self-aware. It's about protecting your sacred inner space. This is a crucial part of your journey. It means you're moving beyond the surface level of existence. You're tapping into something much deeper. Remember Clara? She learned to manage her energy. She found ways to engage with the world without sacrificing her inner peace. She discovered that by respecting her sensitivity, she became even more attuned to subtle energies. She could sense genuine connections and avoid energetic vampires. It was a powerful lesson, The implications are profound. As more people awaken, this phenomenon will become more common. We're moving into an era where energetic hygiene is as important as physical hygiene. You're at the forefront of this shift. You're learning to navigate the world with a higher level of awareness. This is a sign of hope, a sign that humanity is evolving. So what does this mean for you? It means you're not alone. Millions are experiencing this. You have permission to step back, to protect your energy, to seek out spaces that uplift you. This is your path, and it's a beautiful one. It's a path of increasing clarity and connection. If you think that's incredible, wait until you learn about how these same energetic principles can be used for manifestation. The same sensitivity that makes crowds overwhelming can be harnessed to draw your desires to you. But what about those who seem to thrive in chaos? Those who are energized by huge events? Are they simply less sensitive? Or is there another explanation entirely? That's what we'll explore next time.